The MasterChef kitchen has been very transformational for me. More than anything, it has transformed the way I approach food now.
Right.
It has heightened my sense of food, and it's helped give me foundation and structure around how I want to place my food.
I will go out and say, MasterChef India, you guys are doing it the right way because I am a teacher, I believe in education, and I came from a world of reality TV. What we did was 100% reality TV, and that's why we didn't call it an academy. You rightly call it an academy because that's what academy is.
My family used to cook in a very traditional way. We wouldn't use mixies. We would hand stone in the stone mill. We would hand grind.
Yeah.
My grandmother and aunts would hand grind, right? My great grandmother would hand grind. I've seen her live to the age of 104.
Yeah.
Until her last day, she was cooking and she would cook traditionally. So I have very, very strong influences when it comes to traditional food and my upbringing.
Yeah.
But I started paying attention to food because of my father.
Why, hello there, food lovers, and welcome to The Hungry Immigrant, the place where flavors cross borders and cultures unite. I'm your host, Abang Brian, coming to you with stories, secrets, and the irresistible charm of Asian cuisine and heritage. Each week, we'll journey into the heart of what makes food more than just a meal. We'll talk to chefs, celebrities, home cooks, and food enthusiasts who have brought their heritage to our tables. From the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur to the vibrant markets of Manila and Seoul to the Chinatowns of New York, Paris, and Toronto, we're exploring the magic of food that connects us all. So join us as we delve into the rich tapestry of Asian food culture and heritage, celebrating the traditions and innovations that make our culinary world so diverse and exciting. Now, get ready as today's episode promises to be a flavorful journey.
First of all, when you say grinding, right? Do you guys use the is it a long piece?
Yeah.
No, I see you doing it. And I'm
back
like,
and forth.
back and forth. Yeah, so like we do with chilies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So you smash it and you go back and forth.
So let's talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
because people now they have blenders, right?
They
They have blenders and that millers, electronic millers,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what is your argument against traditionally stone grinding and like or buying mixers or like what's the obsession about traditional grinding of
Come to the
spices?
kitchen and I'll show you. Freshly roasted, freshly hand ground spices are any day
Mhm.
a world apart from something that's come in a package.
Because
I think it's got to do with the way you break, the way you roast your spices, the way you break your spices on stone, the way it comes together when you see when you put different powders together,
Mm.
you are getting independent flavors. It's like when you drink a pumpkin soup with just pumpkin and salt
Yeah.
versus you drink pumpkin soup that has caramelized white onion in it, that has freshly ground pepper in it, right? That has roasted garlic in it.
Right.
You creating a melange of flavors.
Yeah.
When you smash those ingredients hot off the pan on a stone mill, freshly ground, each of it is releasing its own oils. And when those oils come together, they create magic.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And that cannot be replaced by anything else.
Mm.
Really, because there is no heat application.
Yeah.
When you use a blender, you
Yes.
are applying heat. Heat alters the nature of an ingredient.
Oh.
When you use a stone mill, the idea is that it cools that ingredient down while you're smashing it together. It releases oils, it retains its texture. That's just really how different traditional food is.
Yeah.
And the thought process and the depth of traditional food is versus modern, faster paced food, which is made for comfort.
Mm. Do you agree with me that I don't know whether it's in my head, but I feel that food that is made in a fast pace
Yeah.
will make you feel that fast pace. Like the way it's prepared, you can actually feel the essence of the food. So like in
Yeah.
certain cultures there's yin and yang, right? The hot and the cold. So like I associate fast and all this thing with warmth, like a lot of tension.
Yeah.
Right? If it's prepared with tension, it
Yeah.
feeds tension to your
It
body.
does.
Do you believe that?
It does, because you just a few minutes ago spoke about how mothers feed their kids. I'm a mother to twin boys, My boys are 7 years. Yeah, they're 7 years old. And I would take any opportunity to feed my boys food. I would feed them fresh, hot food.
Yeah.
And the bliss of them actually eating from my hands and finishing a meal, that is, I don't know, it gives me another level of satisfaction. I don't think anything else can give,
Yeah.
right? But to that point, when I cook that meal for my family,
Mm.
I put in so much of care and love into that meal, um, that I believe that it transcends into food, and it transcends into good health. I really believe that food carries energy.
Energy, yeah, I
Right?
believe that.
Again, I'm taking you back to Ayurveda.
Yeah.
In India, we believe that salt carries energy, which is why a lot of people call it superstition. But in India, we don't exchange salt by hand because we're transferring energy. So in India, it's very hard for you to find someone giving you salt by hand. It's a practice I was taught by my grandparents. I
Okay.
practice it to date. I've passed it on to my boys.
So how do you pass salt to someone?
Pick it and place it.
Oh, okay.
You pick it up.
Right.
I will not transition. I will not give you salt from my hand to your hand.
So with a spoon is fine.
We don't give
Oh, so
salt
the
at all.
oh, okay.
Right? That's just one example.
Right.
The idea that in India, in Ayurveda, we strongly believe that food carries energy. And therefore, when you feed,
Yeah.
you pass that energy on. And therefore, when you cook, if you cook with love and you cook calmly and you cook traditionally, you're passing the goodness on to anyone who's touching that food.
It's really a wholesome experience. It's not only that you are giving experience to your child when you feed them with your hands, they feel it, but you feel it too.
I feel it too.
You feel it too.
I think I'm more satisfied at the end of the. If their plate is empty, I feel filled.
I think there's this one, I think in every culture you find it, like anyone who cooks, any nonas, Italian grandmothers,
Yeah.
or any uh mothers or
Yeah.
what, when you see people eat food and finish it with a gusto, right? It's just like, this is why I'm doing what I do,
Yes.
right? Besides like all the spices and all.
Mm.
Is there like a particular dish or a particular smell that will always remind you of your grandma, or like?
I think with my great grandmother, it's a simple string hopper
What
and
is that?
coconut milk. It's steamed rice strings that's made with a particular traditional Indian equipment,
Uh-huh.
and fresh coconut milk that's been hand squeezed with a little bit of jaggery and cardamom.
Oh wow.
And that's
And it's the simplest, right?
happiness because she makes it by hand.
Right.
The effort that my great grandma used to put to making that.
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing.
Wow. So now we've been talking a lot about tradition, and you seem to be someone who is a lot for tradition, right?
Yeah.
But I also see like with obviously shows like MasterChef,
Yeah.
you know, the way you present sometimes
Yeah.
our food. We want to elevate
We-
and bring our food to the eyes of the world, and
Yeah.
there is also innovation to our
Yes,
foods.
absolutely.
There is also this word called fusion. What are your thoughts about innovation, fusion?
I think the thing with tradition is it's steeped in culture, right? Now, culture is very perspective based. One may like a culture and therefore they may approach a food positively, versus one may not like a culture and therefore they may not want to approach that particular food at all.
Mm.
But food to me truly is the one universal language that transcends boundaries.
Mm.
Simplest example, all the way from the southern tip of our country through to the top and its breadth, the length and breadth, is a simple dish called kanji,
Okay.
right? In India, we call it kanji.
Okay.
Kanji, kanji. In China, they call it kanji,
Okay.
right?
Porridge.
Yeah, if you travel further to the west, they call it porridge,
Porridge, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's that one common dish that's in the Asian parts of the country, it's fermented overnight and it's had the next morning. In the other parts of the world, they cook it fresh and they have it. But it's, for example, a single dish that can tie the whole world together. You go to Japan, you go to the US, you will get a similar dish.
Mm.
How they elevate the dish is different, but the dish, the foundation is common. And to that truth, food is universal, right? Dishes tie across continents, but has been boxed in because of different cultures. I do believe that Indian food, Asian food, has the capability to be elevated because we have a banger of flavors with us, right? You take spice, you take herbs, we have a banger of flavors with us, and we know how to manipulate those ingredients really well. I feel what we don't do really well is elevate the food to present it differently, to make it more universal in nature, to be global in nature. If you divide the world, you would observe that a large part, our section of the world, eats food in the form of curries, in the form of ramen bowls, right? It's essentially a carb and a curry and vegetables. They come together. You eat it as a one pot meal, right? Soupy or dry. You eat it as a one pot meal. But if you travel to the other half of the world, food is segregated. You have your main portion, it's probably dry,
Your
you
meat
have
and
a
veg.
bit of
Yeah,
curry.
yeah.
So if you divide the world, you have two very clear sections, right? And when I say divide the world, even the Egyptian, the Arabic, even that food is very similar to how we eat. But the beauty of them being in the middle of the world is that they have both ends. They have kebabs and they have rotis and they have curries. So they have the perfect blend of it, right? I believe that because our narrative is so global today, the fact that Asian food is eaten as one pot gets seen as one pot and is limited to just that. I today believe that if we are able to manipulate our food well and give it more structure, I feel our food has a global footprint or can have a global footprint in progressive cuisine. Um, Elevated to the likes of art.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I think that Asian food is already doing that. The truth is that one of the most countries with the most Michelin stars is like Japan, right? And of course, Michelin is already in India.
Yeah.
They just came to Malaysia. But what I'm questioning here also is the intersection between preserving our culture, right? So one of the meanings behind food is commensality.
Yes.
Right, the way we eat food, like you said, we don't segregate food, and the way we eat is not that segregated. Like different people eat different way, right? But I think what lies true in all Asian cultures. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking of the major ones, right?
Of
So
course, of
Japan,
course. Yeah.
Chinese,
Yeah.
just like in general, right?
Yeah.
There is this notion to me, eating is about sharing. It's about shared plates. It's about coming together.
Yeah.
It's about I have gone through the transition of being like wanting to bring it to that next level of being dainty and pretty and whatever. But then for me, does that lose its meaning of the togetherness that is symbolic of our food? I think you also see the importance
I
of,
do. Yeah.
right? So like, are we sacrificing a certain meaning to our food to comply with that universal standard? I don't have an answer, but I'm
I
asking
love
people
that you
something
brought.
like
I love that you brought it up.
that.
I mean, it's something to think about, right? And it's true. Our food are sharing portions. They're never really one portion, right? There's a bowl of curry, there's a bowl of rice, there's a bowl of vegetables, and you serve a little bit of each. And so you, from that essence, have a community table. And it's, if I think about it, it's about, did the chicken come first or the egg come
Correct.
first? Did we build such eating norms because we lived, and a large part of Asian cultures do still live as joint families, right? Maybe not as large as mine,
Yeah.
but we do live with our parents or our grandparents, and the natural aging process, till one perishes, and then you suddenly, by which time you are a larger family, right? Is that why we started having food in this pattern? Or are we like that because our food was in that pattern? Like, it's very tough to say, but it's a really deep thinking point. But you're absolutely right. Are we sacrificing tradition for the sense of acceptance in a global landscape? I think some parts of our food, or some people do attempt that. And I don't feel it's wrong because our food, at the core of it, is never going to change.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
You elevate it as much as you like.
Mm.
It's up to one's creativity. But if you want comfort, you're going to come down to the core basics. And so I think the fact that comfort food comes in a bowl is a universal truth. And I feel like to that extent, our tradition cannot be so easily erased. What I do, however, have a strong opinion on is the fact that we're losing traditional recipes. We're losing the way we cook traditionally. And to that point, we're losing the impact of what food can do for us traditionally.
The fact that the people that I talk to on this show, some of them really don't really have any idea of it, is part of why we're having the show, to show that, hey, you know what? If you feel that way, you're not alone. Like, I don't want it to be so heavy, like, oh, we're talking about so deep about food. And the truth is, not everyone is like that, right? And that's why we need this. And there's space for both, and I think there is a need for both to come together and find a way. Because I think to maintain 100% traditional, it's also, come on, everyone's living a modern life, right? So there needs to be a juxtaposition, a compromise between both worlds. The same with how we elevate food, and I love how confident you are. And I think we need to have this confidence with our own food. I think that is something to be admired, because I can speak for my own culture. Sometimes we feel that we need to alter who we are to suit other people. And I feel cultures like India, they don't know that. Like, hey, you know what, we're here. It's like a curry, like it's like spices. We're here. You're gonna know we're here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But to that note, also there is always space for elevation and tradition to be together.
Yes.
I feel what you're saying is I agree with it, because like it's like, okay, imagine a chef who works at Noma, or who works at one of these top restaurants, right? And they are bringing their culture into the food. And at restaurants, there's a place for art, there's place for experience, there's place for elevation. But when they go back home, how do they eat? Right? It's not right or wrong. I think there is so many aspects of food and so many ways we can deal with food. And I don't think it's right for anyone to say something is wrong. I think it's everyone's expression.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And see, the one thing I truly believe in about food is you can always get away with having one pair of clothing, one pair of shoes, one watch. You can't eat the same thing every single day. You will want variety, and the world offers you that. You may want to eat the same dish, but today with noodles, tomorrow with rice, today with roti, tomorrow with something else, right? But food is that. It's that flexible. It's like rubber, right? It bends, it flexes, it meets your demands, it meets your needs. It's your emotional guide at times. It's your creative outlet. Food is so many things that I don't believe one can or should box it up.
And I think this also ties in with Ayurveda and the ideologies of Ayurveda, that it is a wholesome and it's a collective, right? It's a collective. It's not one thing. It's and like spices also, they all come in an array which complement each other. They all have their role to play. It is not one thing, one solution. Food is not one thing. Wow.
But it is the solution. It is the answer to world peace. I truly believe in it.
You told me that you want to talk about food being wellness. Yes, we talked a little bit about that and the whole Ayurveda part of it. And now you're bringing up world peace.
Oh man.
This woman is deep, girl. Like, so before you, we had beauty queens, right? I thought, so tell me, how is food going to solve world peace?
Dear Lord. Where's my crown? Bring it on.
Oh.
Right. It comes from it comes from my foundation. My grandfather passed it down to my dad to me to my kids. It's generational knowledge. If you ever give a human being house, gold, land, jar, money, clothes, they will always want more. You sit a person down and feed them a meal. Give them a little more. When they're done, they're truly done. They're content. When they say enough, I'm satisfied, they truly mean it.
Wow.
It's the only thing that you can truly gain satisfaction from. Next to it is meditation.
You make me cry.
Oh,
But I agree with it. I agree with it so much.
it's only food has that power.
And I think that you will feel true satisfaction when it's true food, real food,
Yeah.
that feeds not only your body,
Yeah.
your mind, and your soul. Right. Wow.
So food is the answer to peace,
Good.
both from inside and to the ones that provide.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. But just to make that a little bit funny, have you met a hungry person? They are angry all the time. So obviously, if everyone's hungry, they're gonna be angry and they're gonna fight all the time.
Give them food.
Give them food, right? We covered a lot. You have twin boys.
I do.
Twin boys. What are their names?
Avir and Bodhi.
Ave and Budi.
Bodhi,
Bodhi.
like the both Gaia tree under
Okay.
which Buddha
Oh,
gained his enlightenment.
okay. Hi. That's what I wanted to say. I was like, hi, kids. Your mom even gave you a very deep, meaningful name. But yeah, what would your advice be to your sons if your sons were like listening now when it comes to food and tradition and culture and whatever you've been talking about, we've been talking about so far?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I think that you should live every moment, enjoy every morsel, appreciate what you get because it is a blessing. And as long as you have it, you're growing, you're nourishing. That's just it. Everything else will figure itself out.
Just eat well.
Just eat well.
Just eat well.
I'll take care of it as long as I can.
With that, I think every episode we have, this is my thing, okay? Every episode we have this portion of the show which I just like to spice things up. So I traveled the world of 3 sambals, and one of it is made by me, and I just want to see if people like my sambal or they like other people's sambal. And this is what we call the Sambal Survey. So this is the segment called the Sambal Survey, where I travel around the world with 3 different sambals. One made by one of the top influencers, foodie influencers in Malaysia, which is not me. There's me. I made one sambal, and one sambal is made by a very famous nasi lemak chain. So nasi lemak is our national dish.
Yes.
You know nasi lemak.
Yes.
And you know Sapna, she'll definitely tell you what nasi lemak. All I want you to do is taste and tell people from your perspective and your palate, what are you tasting? How does it taste? And then at the end of it, just choose your favorite. And then we will reveal only on our YouTube video. So I don't know what the score is. But like, I think we're keeping score whether I'm winning or everyone else is winning, but it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, this is a fun bit of it. And I've got my blindfold because like just by looking, I already know which is mine. You have that, right? I mean, if you cook something, you know exactly which is yours. Right? So to be impartial while we taste it, because also I'll give my opinion.
Okay.
I think there are episodes where I hated my own.
Oh man, thanks. Now no pressure.
Yeah, so I'll blindfold myself and you'll help me take some on my spoon and we'll taste it together.
Of course.
So look, this is my new blindfold. Okay.
Okay, we're tasting the same, guys, okay?
I think my tongue is on point today. What do you taste?
Wow. Quite interesting. There's a good amount of shrimp in that.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic. Chili. Something sweet.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm thinking this one is very umami from the
With the amount of shrimp in it.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's not too spicy.
It's not too spicy at all.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go to the second one, yeah? They look texturally different too. The first one that we had seems more chunky and dried out in the sense it's been cooked through a lot more. It feels less machine processed in the sense that it feels more raw. Now onto the second one, it already smells very different.
Oh yeah.
This seems to have more vinegar in it and something more acidic in this one.
I know this one. I know why the vinegar is there. Yeah, a little bit of some sort of something acid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe this one has that acidity that you brought up because it's for preservation.
It's for preservation.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This one's more spicy.
And it hits you.
It hits you. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the last one. This one's slightly jammy in nature. This one smells very spicy.
Mm. I know this one. Ooh, you gave me a lot of seeds. This one has a lot of chili seeds. Yeah.
Okay.
Girl. Okay. Okay. So tell me, what do you think about these three sambals and which is your favorite?
Firstly, these three would land very different flavors. Spicy for me. I mean, I'm Indian. I eat like truckloads of spices.
Yeah.
I love it. What is it? Bird's eye chili in that?
No, I think the last one, without looking at it, I can't see from here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know whose one is it. But it's the one that the seeds are very present. And the problem is that when the seeds are present, it's more spicy.
It's more spicy.
I think they use fresh chili.
Yeah.
The other two is more dried chilies, I think.
Yeah. It seems there's definitely fresh chili in that. I like that. I think the one I like the most, if for its effort and for the way it's able to balance maybe some amount of flavor, is the first one that I had.
Mm.
But if I were to cook, I would use a combination of the first and the last to maybe make a punch.
Wow, this is the difference. Okay, she's the first person. This is MasterChef standard for you.
Okay.
All my episodes, I ask people to choose. They will choose one. Girl is making her own. I don't care about what you have. I'm gonna make my own. But yeah, so if you want to know whether Arthi actually chose mine over the others, please watch the YouTube video. Or if you're watching it on Spotify, just open your eyes. Not if you're driving. And this is coming from, well, Indians know their spices more than anyone. So, okay, so I'm saying this really counts. So, anyways, before we end the show, any last words that you last words sounds like you're going far, far away. No, I hope to come back to India again and I hope to connect with you a lot more. I think we are going to be lifetime friends. Just from this one conversation, it's like I get you, I get this person, right? Yeah. Maybe you want to share with your audience what's next for you. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
Your socials. How can they support you?
Sure. I think I'd start by saying thank you very much for doing what you're doing. We need more people to gatekeep tradition in today's world. So I think you're doing a splendid job of documenting it. I'm sure that, like my kids, there are going to be so many other kids in the future that can learn from this, right? So thank you very much for doing what you're doing. I really look forward to being able to elevate Indian food. I'm trained in Italian food. That's who I am. Yes, I know, right? Very different, but I love Italian food.
Yeah.
I trained from the nonnas.
Okay.
And you're right. I mean, they have like another level of knowledge, right? And I really hope that my core would be two things. A, I would be able to elevate Indian food, bring it into the global scene, and showcase that Indian food is so much more and is capable of so much more. And B, while I'm going that direction, the exact other direction is I want to author a book that talks about traditional Indian remedies, which teaches you how to use what you're growing in your backyard or you have in your kitchen to solve for simple ailments or to even protect yourself for long-term future ailments.
Wow.
A process I truly believe in.
Yeah.
I have followed with my kids.
Yeah.
And I want to share that with the world.
Wow.
So that's,
Do you have a publisher yet?
No.
Okay, publishers, if you're listening, she needs a publisher. Come on.
Truckloads of knowledge. I think the world needs to see it. So that's something that I look forward to doing. But otherwise, I'm on Instagram as MasterChef Arthi. Also a handle named Art Butterflies. That's ARTBUTTRFLIES because I love art and I love butterflies.
Okay.
And so that's me.
All right. So thank you very much for coming onto our show. And please send my love to your family, your joint family of 50 people and the whole village. And yeah, I really, really do hope that someone from the Tourism Board of India is listening or anyone who can bring me back to India more often so that I can document everything that not only you are saying. I think even this conversation needs, I think, so much follow up. But I think there are also so many regions to cover, and only in Bangalore, or anyone who's listening know of anyone who can help us in our journey of preserving Asian food heritage and culture, please connect us. With that, I would say thank you very much for listening to another episode of The Hungry Immigrant. As usual, I will always invite everyone to keep their plates adventurous and their hearts open. My name is Abang Brian.
Terima kasih and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of The Hungry Immigrant. It's been a delightful feast of stories and flavors that remind us just how much food brings us together. Now don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. And if you loved today's culinary journey, leave us a review and share the episode with your friends and family. Your support helps keep our traditions alive and our tables more diverse. Do follow us on Instagram at Hungry Immigrant and my personal account Abang Brian for behind the scenes looks and extra tidbits from each episode. We love to see how food inspires you, so do tag us in your next food adventure. I'm Abang Brian, reminding you to savor every bite and cherish every moment at the table. Until next time, keep your plates adventurous and your hearts open.